Good morning, Falcons. Mr. Leva here. I will be running morning meeting for you today. The original morning meeting that we were going to do today was about sleep. But instead, I talked to Mr. Monahan after learning about the death of Dr. Wright, and I wanted to do a morning meeting about my experiences with the police and draw connections to the death of Dr. Wright. Here's the agenda we're going to try to follow. Just so you guys know, we're going to talk about racism and police brutality. So if you need a moment to lean in or out, please do so. Let your advisors know. Additionally, we have time to process the information that I'm going to give you. So if you need to do that, ask your advisors for this form. They should be able to give you that form for you. As I do this morning meeting, I'm going to ask you to be as respectful as you can um, of the persons and the stories that I'm about to tell you. So to start, I want you to tell me, when you think of the police, what are some words that come to mind? They might be protect, help, fear, community, whatever it is. Please jump in the chat. Advisors, pause at this time and wait for students' responses. Okay, Falcons. So today I want to talk to you about Dante Wright. He was a 20-year-old from Brooklyn Center near Minneapolis. This is about 10 miles from where George Floyd was killed. He was pulled over. Apparently, there was a warrant for his arrest. He got in his car and ran away from the cops and crashed his car. As he was trying to escape from the police officers that were trying to arrest him, the police officer who killed him said that he accidentally pulled his handgun, not his taser. He wanted to tase him, and he ended up making a mistake and pulled his handgun. Um, when I learned about this young man's story, and just so you guys know, there's a lot of protests happening right now near where he was killed. Um, when I learned about his story, it hit me, and I was trying to understand, why did it hit me? Why did it bother me? So I talked to Mr. Monahan and I asked him if I could do a morning meeting about my personal experiences with police. Now, before I go over some of those experiences, I want to tell you when I started driving. I was 16 years old. I liked speeding. And the Fast and the Furious movies were a thing. They were it. They were the movie to watch, right? So my brother and some of his friends were teaching me how to drive, and they gave me some uh, tips. Here are some of the tips they gave me. If you get pulled over by the police, you say, "I'm sorry." You apologize as much as you can. You say, "Yes, sir," "No, ma'am," or "No, sir." You do not speak in Spanish. It makes them uncomfortable. And you say, and you are as polite as you can with the police. I never make much of this until I got pulled over for the first time. I was going 20 miles over the speed limit, and rightfully, I got pulled over. And that was my fault. And I apologize to the officer because it was my fault. Absolutely. Now, before you think I'm gonna bash on the police, just so you guys know, I have a lot of respect for the police. One of my best friends happens to be a police officer. He works for the city of Denver, and he's the person that, like, he joined to support his community. He joined to be supportive of others, to diversify the police. That's something that him and I talked about all the time. He talked about the fact that this is a very stressful job. What they do is very stressful. One of the things that he shares with me, that stuck with me, was that um, they want to get home to their families. They don't want to grant a situation where they have to lose their lives. I mean, these are human beings as well. But just so you guys know, I've had over 30 encounters with the police. I've been pulled over for silly reasons. I was pulled over one time because the guy said I was speeding. This police officer said I was speeding, and when he couldn't prove that I was speeding, he decided to give me a ticket because he said that my insurance was not good, was falsified. This was completely wrong. I had a good insurance, and the case was dismissed um, when I got to the judge. But just so you guys know, this guy wanted to arrest me in front of my family. I was coming from the airport from picking up some family members, and he wanted to arrest me. Um, I plead to him that he wouldn't do it because I was with my family. It was the day before Thanksgiving, so like I literally asked him to not do it. And that's the only reason why he didn't arrest me. There was another time where I got pulled over in the mountains because the guy said I looked nervous, um, and gave me a ticket because he claimed that he couldn't see my plates. There was a little cover over my plate, so he gave me a ticket for that. I've been pulled over, and the cops are shocked that I speak English and that I have all my papers in order. Now, I'm not saying that I'm being targeted, but I have felt targeted. Okay, these are some of the examples that I can give you. Now, again, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm a perfect person because I have made mistakes, and I've been pulled over for mistakes that I have made. And every time that happens, I apologize. I say I'm sorry. I say it's my fault, officer. I do not speak until I'm spoken. And I always say, can I reach for my documents? Can I approach you? Can I talk to you? About a year ago, I was pulled over by an officer with my wife. Just so you guys know, my wife is a white American woman. I was pulled over. I had my hands in the wheel. And I was pulled over because I drove over the middle lane. We were in the mountains. When I got pulled over, this officer asked me for my documentation. He asked me if I had drugs in the car. He asked me if I had weapons in the car. He asked me if I had. Um, he asked me if we were high, and I said no, officer. I responded to everything. My wife did as well, and my wife was in shock because she's like she told me that she had never experienced something like that, and I told her I'm like, sweetheart, this happens to me all the time. I've been asked questions like that in the past. It happens to me constantly. So the reason why I wanted to do this morning meeting is because driving while brown or black, as funny as some comedians make it seem, it's a real thing. It happens to people. It has happened to me as your teacher, as someone that works in this community and is part of this community. And what happened to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and now this young man by the name of Dr. Wright, it bothered me because it could happen to me. It could happen to people in your community, especially students of color. I wanted to do this morning meeting to home this, to not think, oh, well, that happens in Minnesota, that happens far away from us. No, it happens closer to home than you think. We should not be afraid of the police. We should not be. But a lot of times we are. A lot of times we're nervous. And there are some nice cops, and there are some bad cops too. Don't get me wrong, we should always, always be respectful of the police. Not all police officers are bad. There are excellent police officers. There are people who take their job very serious and they want to do their best for the community. So I want to leave you with this. Why should police brutality matters to all of us? Advisors, this is the end of the morning meeting. Please discuss as much as you see necessary with your advices this question. Have a good day.